10 hidden signs of covert narcissism. Even smart people miss. Have you ever felt constantly lost in a relationship despite being perceptive and rational? You're the person friends come to for advice, yet in your own life, you feel perpetually drained, confused, and filled with self-doubt. It's not just in your head. You might be dealing with something more insidious than a personality clash, a covert narcissist. These aren't the loud, arrogant narcissists we're taught to spot. Those are overt narcissists, and their demand for the spotlight makes them easy to identify. The covert narcissist is a master of disguise, wearing a mask of humility, sensitivity, or shyness that makes them incredibly difficult to detect. Their manipulation is a quiet poison, a slow erosion of your self-esteem and sense of reality. They leave a trail of emotional devastation, while appearing to the world as the kind, misunderstood, or even victimized party. The confusion you feel isn't a flaw in your perception, it's a meticulously crafted smokescreen. In this video, we're pulling back that curtain. We're going to uncover the 10 hidden signs of covert narcissism that even smart people miss. This isn't just about labeling someone, it's about giving you the clarity you've been searching for, and validating that feeling in your gut, that something is deeply, deeply wrong. To understand their method, let's look at the fundamental difference. The overt narcissist, they build themselves up by openly declaring their superiority. Their need for admiration, it's like a roaring fire. Now, the covert narcissist, they achieve that same goal, securing admiration and control, but not by proclaiming their greatness. Instead, they subtly engineer situations where you just feel compelled to offer it. Their need for admiration? Oh, it isn't a fire at all. It's a black hole, silently pulling all light and energy toward them. They don't say, "I'm the best," right? Instead, they'll say things like, "No one ever appreciates how hard I work," which then prompts you to reassure and praise them. And it's this inversion of tactics that makes them so maddeningly effective. Now, let's get into the signs. Sign number 1, introversion and social withdrawal as a weapon. Now, the first sign seems like a contradiction, doesn't it? We usually picture narcissists as the life of the party. So, when we meet someone reserved and quiet, we often don't suspect narcissism at all. But this is one of their most effective masks. See, for a true introvert, solitude is about recharging. But for a covert narcissist, social withdrawal is absolutely a weapon. They tend to avoid large groups, places where they'd have to compete for attention. Instead, they much prefer one-on-one interactions, where, they can truly control their target's focus. And their withdrawal isn't about a genuine need for quiet either. No, it's rooted in a fear of being exposed as imperfect, or maybe a quiet disdain for others they deem inferior, or even resentment that the world simply hasn't recognized their supposed genius. Think about it. They might decline invitations to parties with your friends. You may just see that as shyness, but listen closely to the narrative. Is it just, "Oh, I'm not really a party person"? Or is it more like, "Those parties are just so superficial, aren't they? Your friends don't really get us, do they?" That second statement, it positions them as deeper than everyone else, while subtly starting to isolate you. Their withdrawal, in a way, becomes a silent criticism of your entire world. In a family setting, a covert narcissistic parent might sit silently during a holiday, looking all forlorn. And soon enough, family members rush to their side asking, "Oh, what's wrong?" Without even saying a word, they've manipulated the entire room and become the absolute center of attention. They're using the appearance of introversion to both hide their superiority and subtly control the environment. Sign number 2, hypersensitivity to criticism. The second sign is an extreme, almost allergic hypersensitivity to criticism. Nobody enjoys criticism, but for most of us, it's a sting we can recover from. For the covert narcissist, though, this is impossible. Their sense of self is a fragile fantasy of perfection, and any criticism feels like a profound threat. An overt narcissist might react with rage. A covert narcissist's reaction, however, is more insidious. They won't explode, they'll implode. And then, they'll make you pay through passive aggression. One of their most powerful weapons? The silent treatment. Imagine you gently say, "Hey, it'd be really helpful if you could remember to take out the trash." A healthy partner might apologize. A covert narcissist, though? They hear, "You are a failure." They won't argue. Instead, they'll simply stop talking to you. An icy chill descends. When you ask if they're upset, they'll reply with a cold, "I'm fine," all while their body language screams the opposite. This punishment is designed to be so painful that you eventually break, apologize, and vow never to criticize them again. Another tactic is blame shifting. If their mistake is pointed out, they won't accept it. They'll say, "Well, the instructions weren't clear." Or even worse, "I wouldn't have made that mistake if you hadn't been stressing me out." Suddenly, their mistake is your fault. Or they'll play the victim. This is their trump card. If you say, "I felt hurt by that joke," they'll respond with this wounded look. "I guess I just can't do anything right. I try so hard, but I'm always failing." This flips the script, and you find yourself comforting the person who just hurt you. Living with this? It's like walking on a minefield of eggshells. Sign number 3, the fragile self-esteem and victim mentality. This hypersensitivity, it really reveals the engine running everything, a profoundly fragile self-esteem that expresses itself through a constant victim mentality. While overt narcissists project untouchable confidence, covert narcissists, well, they project an image of being uniquely and tragically misunderstood. Their life narrative is one where they're the perpetual victim of unfair circumstances, cruel people, and a world that won't recognize their special gifts. This isn't just a bad mood, it's their core identity, you know? It's a state of aggrieved entitlement, a belief that they deserve endless sympathy, and a constant resentment that they aren't getting it. Here's how it manifests. You'll notice they rarely brag directly. Instead, they use self-deprecation to fish for praise. An overt narcissist says, "My presentation was brilliant." But a covert narcissist says, "I guess my presentation went okay." And then they'll add, "I just feel like I'm operating on a different wavelength than everyone else." That statement, it's engineered to make you jump in with, "No, it was amazing. You're brilliant." They get the compliment they crave, but they make you do the work. Now, pay attention to how they talk about their past. Are all their ex-partners like crazy? Were all their past bosses incompetent or threatened by them? A covert narcissist's history is suspiciously free of personal accountability. This narrative, it's designed to elicit your protective instincts, making you feel you'll be the one to finally understand them. And the emotional toll? It's immense, as you pour energy into a bottomless pit of neediness, and then feel guilty for having your own problems. Sign number 4, pervasive passive-aggressive behavior. Now the fourth sign, it's their defining communication style, pervasive passive-aggressive behavior. If direct confrontation is the overt narcissist's sword, passive aggression is the covert narcissist's poison-tipped dart. It allows them to express anger and exert control while maintaining plausible deniability, making you question your sanity. One common tool? Malicious sarcasm and backhanded compliments. If you get a promotion, they might say, "Wow, that's great. It's amazing what they'll reward people for these days." If you call them out, they'll retreat with, "I was just kidding. Why are you so sensitive?" The backhanded compliment, like, "You're so brave to wear that outfit," works similarly, leaving you feeling diminished. Another is deliberate forgetting or strategic incompetence. Ask them to handle an important task and they will forget. By failing to do things that matter to you, they silently communicate their resentment and assert dominance, showing you that your needs just aren't a priority. They also thrive on ambiguity. A covert narcissist rarely gives a straight answer, so they can't be held accountable. You ask what they want and they say, "Whatever you want." But you know from experience, whatever you choose will be met with a sigh of disappointment. It's a game you can't win, designed to keep you off balance. Living in this sea of passive aggression is like being slowly poisoned by 1,000 tiny cuts. You end up being the one who explodes, and they calmly point to your outburst as proof that you are the unstable one. Sign number 5, the subtle but constant need for recognition. The fifth sign, well, it's a deep, unrelenting need for recognition, expressed in really subtle ways. The core of all narcissism, you see, is a desperate need for external validation. Overt narcissists, they demand it. Covert narcissists, though, they engineer situations to elicit it. They're masters of the humble brag, a boast disguised as a complaint. They won't say, "I'm so smart." No, they'll say, "It's exhausting being the only one on the team who sees the big picture. I wish I could just turn my brain off." They broadcast their superiority, but they package it as a burden. They also fish for compliments through self-deprecation. They'll purposefully put themselves down, just to be contradicted. They might sigh and say, "I just feel so out of shape." This is a calculated prompt, expecting you to rush in with, "What are you talking about? You look amazing." They get the reassurance they crave without ever asking for it directly. You'll also notice how they steer every conversation back to themselves. You'll start a story about a challenge you faced, and they'll interrupt with, "Oh, that reminds me of a time when I had an even more difficult situation." Your experience isn't heard, it's just a launchpad for their own story. You walk away from those conversations feeling unheard and empty, trained to be the admiring audience for their quiet performance of greatness. Sign number 6, emotional reactivity and pervasive negativity. The sixth sign is high emotional reactivity and an almost constant state of negativity. While overt narcissists may project confidence, covert narcissists often live under a dark cloud, and they're experts at making sure you get rained on too. This is often missed because it can look like a genuine mental health struggle. But with a covert narcissist, these emotions are tools to control their environment. Being with them can feel like an emotional roller coaster, truly. One moment, they're charming, and the next, a minor inconvenience plunges them into icy withdrawal or irritable frustration. You find yourself constantly on high alert, always trying to manage their moods. They often have a deeply pessimistic view of the world, which, in turn, reinforces their victim identity. Their fatalism, "Nothing ever works out for me," isn't a cry for help, you know? It's a statement designed to elicit pity and absolve them of responsibility. If you offer solutions, you're often met with, "You just don't understand." Their constant need for sympathy and their hair-trigger reactivity are incredibly draining, which is why some psychologists, they call them emotional vampires. Their moods, ultimately, become a form of control. If you want to go out with friends, they might say something like, "Fine, go, I'll just stay here. I've been feeling really down anyway." The message is clear. Your joy comes at the cost of their suffering, and you learn to shrink your own life, really, to make space for their enormous, demanding emotions. Sign number 7. Conditional love and control in family roles. The seventh sign, you see, is the use of conditional love as a primary tool for control, and it's often seen in family dynamics. Unconditional love values a person for who they are, but conditional love, well, that's based on what a person does for you. For a covert narcissist, love is a currency, something to be dispensed or withheld, all to manipulate behavior. A covert narcissistic parent, for example, will lavish a child with praise, but only when that child is performing in a way that provides them with supply. Like getting perfect grades, winning a competition, or being the quiet, compliant child. This teaches the child a truly devastating lesson. I am only lovable when I am successful and perfect. The other side of this, of course, is withdrawing affection as punishment. If the child fails to meet the parents' expectations, say they get a B instead of an A, or they express a different opinion, the warmth is instantly replaced with cold distance. This emotional abandonment, it's truly terrifying for a child. They learn to suppress their own personality just to avoid the pain of disapproval. In romantic relationships, they may push you to achieve more, but your achievements aren't truly your own, are they? No, they're a reflection on them. They want a partner whose success they can subtly take credit for, saying things like, "I'm so proud of my partner. It took a lot of work on my part to get them to see their own potential." They aren't supporting your growth, you see. They're curating an accessory. Growing up in this kind of environment systematically dismantles your self-worth and teaches you that love is a precarious reward that can be snatched away at any moment. Sign number 8. Subtle sabotage and rivalry. The 8th sign is a pattern of subtle sabotage and a deep-seated rivalry with those they should be supporting. At their core, narcissists live in a zero-sum world. If you win, they lose. If you get praise, that is praise stolen from them. While an overt narcissist might openly one-up you, a covert narcissist will engage in underhanded sabotage while maintaining a supportive facade. In a family, a covert narcissistic sibling can be incredibly destructive. If you announce an exciting achievement, they won't share your joy. Instead, they might introduce a subtle seed of doubt. "That's great. I hear that school has really lowered its admission standards lately." Or, they'll hijack the moment to divert attention back to themselves. The workplace is a minefield for this. A covertly narcissistic colleague might forget to tell you about a crucial deadline, setting you up to fail. Or, they'll engage in poisonous gossip, raising concerns about you to the boss, like, "I'm a little worried about them. They seem really stressed lately." This paints them as caring, while planting the idea that you are incompetent. In romantic relationships, a covert narcissist can be deeply envious of their partner's success. Your accomplishments threaten their sense of superiority. If you get a promotion, they won't celebrate. Instead, they might become sullen and withdrawn, making you feel guilty for your own success. They sabotage your moments of triumph because they can't stand to be out of the spotlight. Sign number 9. The use of flying monkeys and triangulation. This 9th sign, it's one of the most psychologically damaging tactics. It's the use of triangulation and flying monkeys to control and isolate you. This is where they move from one-on-one manipulation to building a whole coalition against you. Flying monkeys? Well, they're the friends, family, or even therapists who the narcissist enlists to support their agenda and abuse you by proxy. Now, triangulation, that's the act of bringing a third person into your dynamic. A covert narcissist might constantly bring up an ex-partner. They'll say something like, "My ex was so good at that thing you struggle with." This creates a triangle of insecurity that forces you to compete for their affection. And this is how they gather their flying monkeys. The covert narcissist will go to a mutual friend or family member with a curated, one-sided victim story. They might even say to your own mother, "I don't know what to do. I love them so much, but they're so moody and critical." Sounding incredibly sincere and wounded, they activate that other person's empathy, who now sees you as the problem. That person might then come to you and say, "You know, you're being really hard on them." And just like that, you're being policed by your own support network. This is incredibly isolating, and it makes you feel like you're the crazy one. Because, well, multiple people are telling you your perception is wrong. In extreme cases, they'll launch a full-scale smear campaign, systematically spreading lies to damage your reputation and isolate you when you need support the most. And finally, our 10th sign is the cycle of love bombing and devaluation. This is the signature relationship pattern, but with a truly covert twist. It's the cycle of idealization, often called love bombing, followed by devaluation, and then discard. This entire cycle, you see, it's the very engine of the narcissistic relationship. It's designed to hook you, to control you, and ultimately, to break you down. So, phase 1 is idealization. When you first meet a covert narcissist, they'll often present as your absolute soulmate. It's a whirlwind of really intense affection, where they'll mirror your interests and your dreams with uncanny, almost chilling accuracy. They'll tell you how special you are, how they've never met anyone quite like you. For someone who has felt unseen, this truly feels like a dream come true, but it's actually a carefully crafted strategy to gain your trust and make you utterly dependent on them. Then, phase 2, that's devaluation. Once they have you hooked, the mask, well, it slowly begins to slip. The praise is gradually replaced by subtle criticisms, and that affection you craved is just withdrawn. You'll find yourself constantly trying to get back to that perfect initial phase, wondering what on earth you did wrong. The truth is, the person from that idealization phase never really existed. This hot and cold dynamic, which we call intermittent reinforcement, creates a powerful, truly addictive trauma bond. Phase 3 is the discard. Once you're no longer a reliable source of supply, they'll discard you, often suddenly and cruelly. Because they lack empathy, they feel no remorse. You were an object that ceased to be useful. But the discard is often not the end. They may return, hoovering you back in, to start the cycle all over again. Recognizing this 3-part cycle is your key to freedom. If this video resonated with you, please know you're not alone and you're not crazy. Recognizing these patterns is the first, most powerful step toward reclaiming your sanity. The confusion and self-doubt you feel are the intended results of this subtle, emotional abuse. I encourage you to share your thoughts in the comments. What sign resonated with you the most? Your story, it could be the one that helps someone else connect the dots. And if you want to explore more insights like this, hit that subscribe button. For those who need more structured support, I strongly encourage seeking out a therapist, one trained in narcissistic abuse. Having a knowledgeable professional to guide you, well, that can be life-changing. We've walked through 10 hidden signs of covert narcissism: the introverted mask, hypersensitivity, the victim mentality, passive aggression, the subtle need for recognition, negativity, conditional love, quiet sabotage, triangulation, and the devastating cycle of idealize, devalue, and discard. Now, the primary reason even smart people miss these signs, well, it's because they're decent, empathetic individuals who give others the benefit of the doubt. You assume that when someone seems hurt, they're genuinely hurting, right? Not manipulating. And covert narcissists, they really exploit this decency. So, what can you do? Start trusting your gut. Trust that feeling of being constantly drained, confused, and on edge. Your emotional state is a data point, your internal alarm system telling you that something is fundamentally wrong. Healing begins with clarity and understanding that you can't fix them or love them into health. Your only path forward is to focus on yourself. Rebuild your self-esteem, reconnect with your own reality, set firm boundaries, and, if necessary, be brave enough to walk away. Remember this, you're not alone. By understanding these hidden dynamics, we move forward. Trust yourself. You've got this.